When it comes to tracking performance, it is very, very important that companies really look at this in a granular level. As I mentioned before, salaries and wages tend to be the largest expense on an income statement. So payroll and HR needs to be a little bit more granular when it comes to this expense. It's important to look at workforce productivity and cost efficiency. And that is very, very important, because if you don't manage that, inevitably what happens is that you may have a ballooning overtime bill, because we're not managing the productivity of employees within a particular period in time, especially those employees who are paid based on hours worked within the organization. So making sure that there's cost efficiency, making sure that there is workforce productivity that happens from and is managed on a granular level. The other, obviously, is with regard to talent retention. When you have quality employees that really add value to your organization, whether they're really good at a particular service that the organization provides to their customers, or they're very good at a particular designing a particular product, it's important to retain that talent, because we know that the cost of replacing somebody who's really good costs companies tens of thousands of rands or dollars to get the person that enters your organization with limited skills, with limited experience, to the level that as someone who has a lot of experience would obviously provide the organization. And when it comes to the way the employees are engaged with the organization as well, it's important to note that companies want to be more engaged. They want more information, so they want access to data, and that should be readily available within the organization as well. So when it comes to how we engage the employee, it's no longer just about we're doing a performance review once a year. We need to be a little bit more agile in terms of where the employee is and how they perceive the organization and their standing within the organization. So regular engagements tend to change the way we operate in the future, because if we are agile enough, we are able to retain a lot more talent than we previously did. Another is with regard to payroll accuracy. I've seen so many times that the payroll solutions are not accurate because somebody's done things manually. There's a lot of human intervention that happens. There aren't a lot of checks and balances that are in place. It's important, obviously, to change that, to be able to work smarter, so that if you have a time and attendance application that is accurately programmed to manage the time of the employees, you can't have it that some human now captures that manually within the payroll solution and makes an error. So what happens now is that these systems are starting to speak to each other, so that there's no human intervention in between other than the approval that the information is correct through various workflows and automation that is built into those particular solutions. As well as when it comes to compliance, very, very important on the payroll side as well as on the HR side. On the payroll side, from a compliance perspective, it's important for companies to understand that there is no gray area when it comes to compliance. It's either right or it's wrong. So having a solution that can really speak to the compliance side, that the tax that needs to be deducted for the revenue or earnings that an employee has received needs to be 100% correct, because there's massive implications from a revenue services perspective that could hit your company with penalties, with interest on those penalties as well, for not being compliant. And again, from an HR perspective, when it comes to labor legislation, it's important to understand that the labor legislation needs to be in alignment with the country that you're in. And that's a non-negotiable. So those are the points with regard to moving the needle from that perspective.